Alright guys, I believe we're officially live. Hold on, my chat is all squished up for some reason. Head over to the Discord real quick, drop a notification. We are live. Drop a few notifications. Alright, it's going to be dark in here for a second, guys, till I get the chat pulled up. Alright, there we go. Got it pulled up. How's everyone doing? Welcome, 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 everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So today, guys, today, we're going to be talking about, instead of mentally diving deep with anxiety, take a step back and accept it. So instead of mentally diving so deep with anxiety, take a step back and accept it. That is going to be the topic of today's stream. What's up, PJ? What's up, Edward? How you guys doing? Welcome, welcome. We're gonna give it a minute. Let some people get in here. Oh yeah, so I almost forgot to do that right above my head. So I want to make it a little bit easier for people that have to catch the streams after the fact. For people that can't be here live, I want to make it a bit easier for them to find exactly where the stream starts and. But you know, before we use the starting soon screen and all that, but people don't seem to be a huge fan of the slides. They'd rather me just be on here on the face cam. So we're just gonna start using this little text right here. If you see this and you're watching in the future and you don't feel like listening to me talk before the main point of the stream, then you can just kind of click along until you find where this disappears. So hopefully we continue to remember to do that. How's everybody in chat doing today? Before we get started, I'm going to grab the link to the Discord. Let's see. Let me switch this to never expire. Go ahead and paste that in there. Alright. Pull this back up. Alright guys, you should see the link to the Discord if you want to join us over there pop up on screen in just a second. Completely free. What's up, Kay? Welcome, welcome. How you doing? Welcome. Welcome, welcome. I promise I'm not sick. I'm just a little snotty today for some reason. Just a little snotty today for some reason. Give it another minute or two before we get going. I don't know why the YouTube notification bell is just so fashionably late for most people. I don't think I've met anyone on the channel who has told me that that notification system actually works. So we'll give it a minute. We'll give it a minute. How you doing, Kay? It's been a minute since I've seen you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hold on. Let me see here. Alright. Guys, if you missed, okay, I'm going to find the title of it for you. If you missed the stream entitled, okay, Letting the Fire Burn Out, okay, if you missed the stream that was entitled Letting the Fire Burn Out, I highly, highly recommend it. I know you're probably sick of hearing me say that. I think I brought that up last stream too. It was just such a good stream. I don't know what else to say about it. It's such a good stream. Understanding that, you know, the more you fight with anxiety as far as the thoughts and feelings go, the more you're just throwing gas on the fire. Somebody mentioned in the Discord they loved when I compared it to, you know, this whole time that you've been fighting with your thoughts and feelings, you thought you were working with water trying to put this fire out, but you were actually working with gas. Somebody mentioned how much they loved that analogy, and I don't know, it was such a good stream overall. That's why I keep recommending it. But if you haven't seen that, guys, you should check it out. If you haven't seen that, guys, you should check it out. I know I keep mentioning it, but it's just such an important, it really is just such an important stream. So again, the title of that stream, in case you did miss it, Letting the Fire Burn Out. letting the fire burn out. We're going to give it about, let's see here. How long have we been streaming so far? About 5 minutes. We're going to give it about another minute, and then we're going to get going. I think that'll be long enough. We'll give it another minute, and then we'll get going. That is honestly the best way to put it because it's absolutely truth. It's the absolute truth. Sorry, I can't read today. I agree with you, PJ. I agree. And sometimes analogies really help. They kind of help to put everything into perspective. You know what I mean? It can be hard to, it can be hard. It can be difficult to put everything into perspective. So, analogies kind of really help that along. Time for some Mass Effect streaming. Dude, I haven't played Mass Effect since, which one? I know I haven't played the latest one. I think I played part one and part two. I don't even know if I played three. It's like there's four of them out, right? I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, welcome Jesse to the stream. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Let's get rid of this. So again, as soon as this disappears, like so, we are on to the main point of the stream. So if you watch these, if you have to watch these streams in the future, if you don't get to watch them live, just wait for this to disappear. Assuming I remember to do that. Just wait for these to disappear, the little starting soon text. That means we're on to the point of the stream. So, let's get started. The point of today's stream, guys, instead of mentally diving deep with anxiety, take a step back and accept it. So let's break this down into two parts. We'll talk about acceptance, but let's first cover what it means to mentally dive deep with anxiety. What exactly does that mean? Now, mentally diving deep with anxiety is something that I did, and I guarantee it's something that you have did or have been doing for a very, very long time. Now, what I mean when I say mentally diving deep with anxiety, all I'm talking about, all I'm referring to there is you experience these feelings, you experience these negative intrusive thoughts, and you start to log into all of this to such a level that you are completely and totally obsessed, right? So let's say, for example, I feel an anxious feeling, right? Or I have these anxious symptoms. Now, I've really got two choices. I've really got two choices in that moment. And as a human being, we accidentally tend to lean to the side of obsession, to the side of mentally diving too deep. So that can lead and look like a lot of things. That can lead to a lot of things, and it can look like a lot of different things. It can look like something like, oh, I just had that symptom. Will it ever go away? And then will it ever go away leads to what can I do to make it go away? And then what can I make it do? What can I do to make it go away leads to, oh no, I've been suffering like this for this long. And then I've been suffering like this for this long can lead to, oh no, I might suffer like this for however long coming up. And then that might lead to, oh, you see where I'm going with this. So we start to obsess. We start to mentally dive really, really deep with our symptoms. And this diving deep with the symptoms leads to a whole train of thought, right? It leads to so many different possibilities of just negative thought after negative thought after negative thought. And this is what tends to happen when we argue with or fight with the negative thoughts and the feelings, right? We tend to log in, we tend to mentally dive way too deep with them, and then because we chose to mentally dive way too deep with the thoughts and feelings, now we're one what if after the other. We are one negative train after the thought after the other, right? So we dive really, really deep with all of these thoughts and feelings, and it leads to one thought after the other, after the other, after the other. And before you know, it's been 8 hours. Your entire day has passed, and it's been a sluggish 8 hours where you've sat around, mentally diving way too deep with all of this crap, and you've completely, completely fried your nerves and stressed yourself out. And then you wake up tomorrow and you do it all again. Right? This is what most of us have been doing for a very long time. It's what I did for a very, 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 very long time. I mentally dove so deep with all of these thoughts and feelings, just leading to one big debate after the other, one big debate after the other, one big debate after the other. And honestly, guys, it's just so exhausting. It's so exhausting, and it's what's keeping your nerves tired. I mean, how could your nerves not be tired after you just dive so deep with all of this crap day after day after day? Now, it's very easy. It's very easy and it's very tempting to slip up, to fall, and to do this. right? Because as a human being, you're always looking for that quick fix. As a human being, you're always overcomplicating things. As a human being, you're always diving a little bit too deep with things. So it's very tempting to do this because it is a bad habit, and it's very easy to do this. But here on the channel, we give you another option, right? And this is what recovery is all about. Here on the channel, we give you another option. We give you the option of taking a step back when you have these feelings, taking a step back when you have these negative intrusive thoughts, and instead of doing the whole mentally diving deep with them thing, which we just went over, you have another choice, which is the practice, which is to say, okay, here's those feelings. I accept them. Here's those thoughts. I accept them. Now, I'm not just saying that to say it. I mean, you can literally say it. You can say it out loud or you can say it in your head, whatever the case may be. You can literally say, I accept these thoughts and feelings. Thanks for coming, right? I can handle these thoughts and feelings. As I don't really, we talked about this the other day. I don't really much care what your reminder is, what you choose to say in those moments, as long as it's something to do with acceptance, right? As long as it's along the lines of acceptance, you can say whatever you want to say, right? As long as it's not a big, drawn out 15-minute fight with the way that you feel, or 2-hour fight with the way that you feel and the thoughts that you have, as long as it's not you trying to fight with the thoughts, as long as it's a general, okay, and this is important, a general statement of acceptance. Now, a lot of people say, well, I don't believe it when I say that to myself. Well, okay, you don't have to believe it 100%. And then a lot of people say, well, I'm not getting instant results. You're not going to get instant results. I mean, you might take the edge off. Acceptance might take the edge off, but true healing usually is a progression, right? It might take the edge off, but give yourself time. So you don't have to believe yourself when you say it, and the fire's not going to burn out instantly. But again, you always have those two choices. To mentally dive deep with the thoughts and feelings, which means to mentally start to debate with it all, to fight with it all, blah, 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 or to say, you know what, I'm doing it again. If you catch yourself doing it, that's great. Take a step back and remind yourself, I'm doing it again. Instead, I accept these thoughts and feelings. Now, will that bring, like I said, will that bring the fire to an instant poof? No, but you are doing good. You are doing right. You are doing right by catching yourself and taking the step back and reminding yourself, I accept these thoughts and feelings. I'm not going to get into I'm not going to mentally dive deep with them for hours on end, right? And some people say, well, I got to do that every 10 seconds. I got to take a step back and tell myself I accept these thoughts and feelings and then get on with my life. That's the two main keys, by the way, right? Some people say, well, I got to do that every 10 seconds. Okay, well, so be it. What's the alternative? The alternative is an 8-hour long obsession session, right? That's the alternative. So, a lot of people, when they realize that they have to catch themselves so often, pouring gas on the fire, they get a little demotivated. They don't want to have to put in that work. Well, you got to put in that work. Okay, you got to put in that work because the only alternative is that you're going to continue mentally diving deep with all of this crap, and that just when I say mentally diving deep, that simply just means mentally fighting with all this crap, and that is second fear. That is keeping your nerves tired. That is the fear on top of fear. So you really have two choices. And just because you don't believe yourself completely or 100% when you say I accept these thoughts and feelings, or whatever accepting reminder you like best, right? As long as it's short, sweet, and rooted in acceptance. Even if you don't believe that at first when you say those words, even if you don't get instant gratification, right? Regardless of all of this, you've got to put in that work, right? So, and again, I highly recommend the Let the Fire Burn Out stream. It explains how just because the fire does not burn out instantly doesn't mean you're doing something wrong or that you should go back to dumping gas on the fire, right? Because that makes no sense. So if you haven't checked that out, check it out. But basically in that stream, we talk about it. You've got those two choices: to take as many step backs as you need and remind yourself I accept, or to mentally dive deep with all this crap, which is what you've been doing for so long. Obviously, that doesn't work, or you wouldn't be here, right? So, again, don't fall for those common pitfalls, guys. Don't fall for those common pitfalls of, oh, the fire didn't instantly burn out, let's go right back to adding gas. Or, oh, I don't believe myself 100% when I say I accept, so let's go right back to adding gas. Don't believe these common pitfalls. Don't fall for these common pitfalls, right? As long as you're taking as many step backs as you need when you catch yourself adding gas to this fire, or as the title of this stream says, mentally diving deep with all this crap, as long as you're taking those steps back and reminding yourself, It's okay to feel these thoughts and feelings. Then congrats, you're on your way, right? Congrats, you're on your way, even if it doesn't feel like it, and it probably won't feel like it at first. Okay? Don't let that trick you going right back to adding gas to the fire. So those are your two choices, guys. Those are really your two choices at the end of the day. You can mentally dive deep with all this crap, or you can take a step back and remind yourself as many times as need be, I'm going to accept these thoughts and feelings. I'm not going to dive too deep with them. I'm going to accept them for what they are, right, you guys? All right. That was the main point of today's stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's switch on over to the post stream for a bit and let's read some chat. Who do I got in chat with me today? Fee Fish had a really good day. Went to church with the fam. Nice, dude. Nice. It's good to see you, Fee. All right, let's see who else we got in chat. Jesse, I don't know why the bot held your comment that said drop a like and a sub. Why would the bot hold that comment? I have no clue. That's weird. I apologize about that, but I approved it. That's weird. Is the Edward in chat that was in here earlier? Is that the Edward I think it is? Didn't you used to have like a black and white profile picture or something? Am I right? I think that's who I think it is. Not sure. Not sure. Let me see if I can. I keep mentioning that stream. Let me see if I can actually grab a link to that and drop it in chat. I don't know if this will work, but we'll give it a try. Did that work? Cool, I think that did work actually. I think that did work actually. Nice. Alright. I've been having a practice weeks, but it got to do with me. Yeah, 4. Oh, we were talking about the Mass Effect games, yeah. Yeah, I think I've only played the first 2. I think I've only played the first 2. I remember having a lot of fun with 2 though. I spent many hours on it. Many, many, many hours on it. We'll be back to the face cam in just a second, you guys. Feel free to ask your questions. We need some music for the post stream screen. What's up, Y? Today was awesome. I've been feeling like 90% normal. It's so uplifting to have good days now, even if I can't accept 100%. It still seems to work. Well, keep in mind, even if it's not all good days, that those quote unquote bad days are not really bad days. They're days that you need because that's when your brain's going to learn the most, right? So don't even look at them as quote unquote bad days. Change the attitude completely. But I am glad you're having a good day, dude. That's awesome. That is awesome, but make sure you keep that attitude change even when it's not sunshine and rainbows, right? But still, that's great that you're having a good day, dude. Enjoy it. And like you said, that's why I say you don't have to be perfect. Like you said, even though it doesn't feel maybe like you're accepting 100%, you're still doing your best to change the attitude, and therefore you're seeing some results. So, that's why I always like to say you don't have to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. No sense in adding more stress to yourself, right? When, that's the whole point, is to stop doing that. So, no sense to add more stress to yourself to be perfect. Because that's really what this is all about at the end of the day. We're adding stress to stress by doing exactly what the title of the stream says, mentally diving too deep with it all, instead of just taking continued step backs and reminding yourself, you know what, it is what it is, or whatever you've chosen to say, to yourself. But you get my point. That's what this is all about, really, at the end of the day. We're adding too much stress to stress, or, as Dr. Claire Weeks calls it, fear to fear. Alright, guys, I'm getting ready to get back on the face cam in just a second. Just a second. Thanks, man. I'll keep that in mind. No problem, dude. It is important to keep that in mind. You know, it's only human nature to want good days, but we need to continue practicing changing our attitude towards the quote unquote bad days. You know what I mean? You got to continue practicing that. It is great that you're having a good day, though. I didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night, to be fair, so you can probably hear it in my voice. You can probably hear it in my voice. It feels so random actually. Today I just woke up feeling good out of nowhere. It feels random, but understand if you've been practicing like you say you have, again, even if you're not perfect, if you've been practicing like you say you've been practicing, then it feels random because there's a bit of a time lag between you practicing acceptance and your brain learning. Doesn't normally happen instantly. It might bring you a little bit of relief, rather quickly. But normally, like feeling good, right, is something there's a bit of a time lag there. So that's why sometimes I say it doesn't feel like it's working in the moment, but it's going to add up for you. It's going to add up for you. So it feels random, but it's not random. It's just kind of how the brain learns at a slow pace. It's just kind of how the brain learns with a bit of a time lag there. But so you see the difference there. Like using acceptance will bring relief in the moment, like really quickly. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes it will take the edge off rather quickly. But to get like that feeling good progress, you know exactly what I mean. Most of the time there's a bit of a time lag, so it feels random, but it's not. Been able to function just fine, but still have some ridiculous anxious thoughts and varying subjects. I move on, but definitely notice the negativity that seems to always be there. So yeah, the thoughts are usually the last thing to kind of trickle away because they have been, the mind is so tired, the body is so tired, and the mind throws all sorts, the monkey mind as we call it, throws all sorts of randomness our way. So, the mind quieting down is usually one of the last parts of the process. But if you're noticing less physical symptoms, that's a good sign that your nerves are starting to heal up. But it seems like you're going about it the right way regardless though. Just getting on with it, not diving deep with it like the title of this stream says. Acceptance. Alright guys, let's get back over to the setup. Let's get back on that face cam. So yeah, definitely seems like you're going about it the right way, Dom. And sometimes, sometimes it is annoying. Sometimes we wish these things would just immediately leave us alone. Sometimes we wish these things would just instantly poof. I mean, I wish that's the way it worked. It'd be so much easier for everybody. I wish that's the way it worked. As soon as you said, I accept these thoughts and feelings, that you felt that. And by that, I mean the thoughts and feelings just poof. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. There is a time lag. There's a bit of a learning process. The brain goes through a bit of a learning process, and that's why I continue to remind people, it's not an instant thing. You might get, relief in the moment, but in order to see that, like, really good progress, it takes some time for most people. I'm not saying that a quick recovery is not possible. It absolutely is. But what I am saying is, if it takes time, don't let that discourage you and let that trick you into falling right back in the same old bad habits that put you here to begin with. Okay, aka fighting with all of it. So, it looks a lot like this. We have people that say, okay, I'm going to dedicate to these two main keys. They wake up the next day, they start living life a little bit. And when I say live life, I mean even little things, like, doing little things you enjoy, whether that's keeping up with your personal hygiene, just little things, right? They start doing little things. When these thoughts come, they say, okay, I accept these thoughts. I'm not going to fight with these thoughts. I welcome these thoughts. I'm not going to fight with these thoughts, or, whatever it is that they chose to say. Hopefully it's short, sweet, simple, and rooted in acceptance. They do this for a little bit, right? Like, they do this for a little bit, but because they don't feel that instant gratification, because they took a step back and said, I accept these thoughts and feelings, but those thoughts and feelings were still there, they get discouraged. And they're like, oh crap, well, I'm doing something wrong. Oh crap, well, and then they start fighting with it all over again. And it's like a hamster in a hamster wheel. If there was instant gratification, they felt 100% better as soon as they said those words. That would be super simple and super easy, right? But unfortunately, it does not work that way. So you see it, we see it happen all the time. People start to live by those two main keys: live your life and not fight with the thoughts and feelings. And they don't get that instant, the fire doesn't burn out instantly, so they go right back to the same old crap. And that's the cycle I found myself stuck in for a very long time, and I think that's the cycle that most people find themselves stuck in, right? Like, I think everybody in chat can pretty much agree with that. So I don't know. Here recently, I've just been super heavily focused on the whole stop basing your progress on the way that you feel thing. Stop convincing yourself that just because you take a step back and say one time, I accept these thoughts and feelings, and then try to get on with your life, just because you do that literally one time does not mean the fire is going to instantly burn out. It does not mean the thoughts and feelings are just going to go poof, right? If you're trying to do it like that, that means you're treating acceptance like a pill. And that's just not how it works, right? That means you're trying to treat acceptance like a pill, and unfortunately, that's just not how it works. So I don't know. I've been super heavily focused here recently on trying to drive home the point that acceptance doesn't work that way. Stop stop getting discouraged. Stop telling yourself that, oh, I must be missing something, I must be doing something wrong, just because you took a step back one time and said to yourself, I accept these thoughts and feelings, and then the thoughts and feelings didn't immediately leave. And then you go on to think, oh, like I said, I must be missing something, or I must be doing something wrong. You're really shooting yourself in the foot when you do that, and that's the most common mistake that I see. So, yeah, I don't know. I've just been really trying to drive that point home here recently. I've just really been trying to drive that point home, that that's just not how it works. It's just not how it works. Yeah, it's a ongoing process, and you got to keep that up. You got to keep doing that, right? You got to keep doing that. That's exactly what I've been doing. I was accepting with the expectation of anxiety going down, constantly checking in. How am I feeling right now? Am I feeling better? No. How about now? No. Yeah, exactly. See, again, that's why I've been so heavily focused on driving that point home here recently, because that's what I used to do too, dude. That's what I used to do all the time. I would be like, okay, acceptance, Dr. Claire Weeks, that sounds great. And then I would get anxiety, like the anxiety would be in a heightened state. I would have negative intrusive thoughts, and I would think back to Dr. Claire Weeks's books and about acceptance and stuff. And in that moment, I would do my best. I'd be like, okay, I accept these thoughts and feelings, or whatever I would tell myself. I accept these thoughts and feelings. And then 5 seconds later, because the anxiety didn't go away or the thoughts didn't go away immediately, I'd be like, oh crap, I'm doing something wrong. Oh crap, the anxiety isn't going away. Oh crap, yeah, 5 seconds later, I'd fall right back into fighting with all the crap, right? And that's just not the way this works. You can't go about it that way, or it's just not going to work out for you. You can't go about it that way. So again, I mean, I've just really been trying to drive that point home here recently because it's the biggest pitfall that I see. It is the most common, the most biggest pitfall that I see, um, right? That people take a step back for a second and say, "I accept these thoughts and feelings," and because they don't immediately feel better, they say, "Oh, I'm doing it wrong. Something's not right here." It's the biggest pitfall. The most common mistake that I see is that right there. You know, that's why I've been saying here recently, don't judge your progress off of whether or not the anxiety is going away. Judge your progress on whether or not you are taking continued steps back in those moments and saying to yourself, whatever you chose to say, as long as it's rooted in acceptance. For example, I accept these thoughts and feelings. That's what you need to judge your progress off of, not whether or not, the anxiety is immediately going away. If you're judging your progress off of whether or not the anxiety is immediately going away, you're going to be disappointed and you're going to fall right back into the same old bad habits. You just continue to dedicate to living your life to the best of your ability. And when you notice yourself mentally fighting with the thoughts and feelings, take a step back and say, I accept these thoughts and feelings. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And just because you don't feel instantly better, do not let it trick you into going right back into the same old bad habits, right? Biggest anxiety downfall, the biggest, most common trick, the most common mistake that people make is that right there. What's up, Christopher? How you doing, dude? How you doing, Christopher? It's good to see you, dude. Abel, what's up, man? What's up? What's up? Wonder Bro, is all anxiety from sensitization? No. Sensitization is a term that we use to describe a completely and totally fried nervous system, right? So you can look at the word sensitization as the peak of anxiety. That as okay. Here's a better way to look at it. You can look at sensitization as the point at which the nervous system is completely fried. Now, to some people that might sound scary, but that simply means that you have a fried nervous system. You have a very tired nervous system, and you can heal a tired nervous system. So, some people that experience anxiety never completely fry their nerves. They're just what we call anxious people. Some people take it to an extreme with the obsession, and eventually their nerves get so tired that we call them sensitized. So yeah, there's a big difference between the two. But the beautiful thing is, either way, whether you're just an anxious person or you're completely sensitized, whatever the case may be, this advice works for you, right? If you're dealing with anxiety, this advice works for you. Looking back, this has been a lifelong thought process. That's the way I'm wired. I need to realize this and try not to take the content of those varying thoughts so seriously. Yeah, exactly, dude. You got it. You got it. Hello, Wonder Boy. Can't thank you enough, man. Hey, I appreciate that. Just popping in, love your channel. You're doing good work. I appreciate that, Christopher. Thank you, dude. We are right around the corner from 10K. I'm pretty excited. I may not seem like I have a ton of energy today, but I'm excited. I'm excited for the 10K. I didn't get as much sleep as I normally do last night, so that might be a huge part of why I seem so what's a good word? Sluggish, okay? But believe me, I am excited for that 10K. Do you find once the old order toughs are not triggered? Uh, I'm going to be honest, I might need you to rewrite that comment. There might be a bit of a language barrier here. But if you could try to rewrite that comment, I will do my best to answer it. And the lady said there are people that get panic attacks that they seize up and like their hands call up and stuff, and I'm like, thank God I got mild ones. Well, I mean, panic attacks are different than sensitization too. So, okay, let's try to make this as simple as possible. There's panic attacks which are very short-lived. They're very short-lived. They always pass. Those are panic attacks. That's like the peak of, I guess you could say, anxiety, where the body's like, okay, this is, activate fight or flight to the most extreme form, and we call that a panic attack. Now, then there's just anxiety, which is an underlying feeling. It's just anxiety. It's something that uh, is far different from a panic attack. And then there's sensitization. That's when the nerves become so fried that we call them these people sensitized. We call these people living in a sensitized body and a sensitized nervous system. That is when the nerves are just fried, right? Um, they can be healed, but that is what we call sensitized. So there's a difference between the three terms there. Panic attack, it's a short-lived experience. Anxiety is anxiety, and sensitization means that your nerves are tired. Now, all three of those things are different in their own ways, so keep that in mind. Some people, I've seen some people try to treat sensitization like you would treat a panic attack. You say, okay, bring it on, which is okay to do. But my point is, they say, okay, bring it on, and then the panic attack goes away within a few seconds or whatever. And then they turn around and they try to treat sensitization the same way. They go, okay, I'm accepting. Why are my nerves not healed within 20 seconds? My panic attack went away within 30 seconds. Why is my tired nerves not going away within 20 seconds? And that's just not how a tired nervous system works. The tired nervous system takes time to heal. It's not like a panic attack experience that will pass, fairly quickly. So there's a big difference between anxiety, sensitization, and panic attacks. But I hope that kind of explains all three right there. And keep in mind, you can be sensitized, which means again that you have a tired nervous system without experiencing panic attacks. A lot of people that are sensitized don't experience panic attacks. What up, Wonder Bro? I accept, and days feel like I'm getting better. Then it just comes back to me and hits hard. I know not to add second fear. It can feel so strong. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that last part. I know not to add second fear. So just because it comes back on certain days and hits you hard, that's fine. You need to practice that attitude, right? You need to practice that attitude of acceptance regardless. I'm like so burpy over here. I don't know why. You need to continue to practice that attitude of acceptance regardless of when it comes back or if it doesn't come back or maybe it comes back on Tuesdays, right? It doesn't matter. Anytime anxiety is around, you got to remember the goal. The goal being to take a step back when you notice yourself mentally fighting with the thoughts and feelings and saying, okay, I'm not doing that crap anymore. I accept these thoughts and feelings. And you might have to do that quite a bit. You might have to practice that quite a bit, but that is your goal. That is your goal. Okay, so lately I've been experiencing new thoughts. I'm going to assume you mean thoughts, right? Okay, so lately I've been experiencing new thoughts as the older ones doesn't scare me anymore, and I actually find myself laughing about those new thoughts. Is that normal? Yes. That tells me that you're starting to heal your nervous system because you're no longer experiencing such an anxious physical reaction to the thoughts, right? But let's rewind a little bit. Let's say you were experiencing an anxious physical reaction to the thoughts. Doesn't matter. You would still, of course, obviously, you would still stay on the acceptance train. Um, but the fact that you're not experiencing an anxious physical reaction to the thoughts is a really good sign. It's a really good sign. Dom, dude, thank you so much for the $20 tip. Says, thanks again, bro. You're helping people more than you know. I appreciate you. Can we get a shout out to Dom in chat? Our first tipper of the day, man. Thank you so much for the $20 tip. Let's add that to the tip goal. By the way, guys, that has completely changed. Tip goal used to be down here. It is now up here in this little glass thing. I don't know. It's kind of like a cool little thing that fills up with, I think that's coins or something. I don't know. As we get closer to tip goal, this just fills up, and I just thought it was neat. But anyway, tip goal is now up here. Thank you so much, Dom, for the $20 tip, dude. I appreciate it. You the man. You the man. I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Remember, chat, we should always show love to our tippers. Without them, we wouldn't be where we are. Without them, your boy would have to go back to frying fish, and I would not be able to focus on the channel consistently. So we should always thank our tippers. They keep us afloat. They keep us consistently here, and they help me survive. So let's thank our tippers any chance that we get. I know some people hear that and they might be thinking something like, "Oh, what a kiss ass." Nah, you got to understand, dude. We have to be grateful for our tippers. They really are the reason that we can be here consistently, right? Because at the end of the day, you boys got to survive. So I'm not trying to be a kiss ass, but we should honestly we should always be grateful for our tippers. Theoretically, if someone had a problem where the hand seized up and stuff, could they heal through the two main keys? Yeah, I mean, I've heard of that before. Fee, it's not extremely common, but I mean, it could happen, right? It could happen in an extreme case. Um, but you got to understand the two main keys when we're dealing with anxiety, when we're dealing with fear in general. Okay? When we're dealing with anxiety, when we're dealing with fear in general, regardless of the symptoms, the brain is going to learn the same way. So whether you're someone who's got an extreme case of this or you just got a touch of anxiety, you got to understand it doesn't matter. That's all irrelevant. Fear works the same way, the brain works the same way as far as anxiety is concerned. So that's the good news. Whether you're dealing with a severe case or you're dealing with someone who's been sensitized for a long time or a short time, or you're dealing with someone who's always been an anxious person or just now became an anxious person, all of that's irrelevant. So that's the good news. When you're dealing with fear and you're dealing with anxiety, acceptance is key, man. It's going to work no matter severe case, light case, somewhere in the middle, doesn't matter. People say they're fully recovered even if they have anxiety slash panic attacks time to time. Well, the thing is, anxiety is a normal human emotion. You're never going to get rid of anxiety completely, but I don't mean, please do not think that I mean that it's normal for people to experience high levels of anxiety all the time. No, that's not normal. It's not normal to have a sensitized nervous system. I mean, I guess it's normal, but you get what I'm saying. Now, the human emotion of anxiety, that's just something we all have. And let's say you've got something major that just shakes your life up. You might feel some fear, and that's fine. It's fine to have anxiety from time to time. You might have a big test coming up, and that makes you a little bit nervous. We call that anxiety, but that's normal. That's normal anxiety. So when people say that you can't cure anxiety, well, you can't. You can't because anxiety is just a normal human emotion. If you had a big test coming up on Wednesday and didn't feel a little bit nervous, that'd be odd. That would be kind of odd. So you get what I'm saying, right? You get what I'm saying. It's completely normal to experience anxiety as a human being. So that's what people mean by you can't cure anxiety because it's an emotion. It becomes a problem, however, when you have heightened levels of anxiety that start to disrupt your daily life, right? That's when it becomes not normal. I mean, it's normal, but you get what I'm saying. It's not normal at the same time. That's when it becomes not normal. That's when it becomes a problem. That's when it comes time to do some healing. So, let's say I had some big, huge, life changing event coming up in a few days. I myself, Mr. Wonderbro, would feel nervous. That's being human, but that's not a problem. It only becomes a problem when anxiety starts to get to the point that your nerves are tired, that your nerves are starting to get fried, that you're experiencing heightened levels of anxiety that's starting to disrupt your life. That's when we say you've got a problem with anxiety, right? But just having anxiety as a human because you've got some major event coming up in a few days or whatever, so you're feeling a bit nervous, that's normal. But when anxiety gets to the point that it's frying your nerves and it's disrupting your daily life, that's not normal. And that's when we say it's time to rewire your brain. That's when we say it's time to heal, right? So, I hope that helps answer your question there. I hope that helps answer your question there. There's nothing wrong with being a human that experiences anxiety in normal situations over things that you probably should experience a bit of nervousness over. That's called just being human, and that's not a problem. It only becomes a problem when you have such heightened levels of anxiety that it's disrupting your daily life. That's when we say you've now got a problem. It only becomes a problem when you start to fry your nervous system. That's when we say you're starting to have a bit of an issue here, right? But just being a human being that experiences some anxiety over normal things, that's just being human. That's not a problem, and it doesn't disrupt your life. In fact, you don't care about it because that's just normal, right? So I hope your tired mind doesn't grab a hold of that, right, and twist it into something it's not. Just understand that it's normal to be a human that gets nervous over things, but it becomes a problem when it starts to disrupt your daily life. My old self became nervous from time to time too. I'm not expecting to never be nervous again, but anxiety is a different beast. I never had it. I was a calm, confident person. Well, what you really meant to say was there was when you say anxiety is a different beast. What you kind of meant to say there was I'm okay with being a nervous person from time to time. That's a part of being human, but it really threw me off when I had strong levels of anxiety that I then added second fear to, and you get what I'm saying? But you're absolutely right. There's nothing wrong with being human, being nervous from time to time. That's just part of the human experience. That's how it normally happens for most people, dude. The panic attack leads to what the title of the stream says, mentally diving too deep with it all, and then you end up just in a hamster wheel. But now we're starting to reverse that. Now we're starting to reverse that for you. Oh well, I really thought about it. There's a part of the brain that thinks we're in danger. Yeah, yeah, and you can't tell it that you're not. You just have to prove it by stop adding gas to the fire. So you can't say stop making me anxious. You just have to stop adding gas to the fire and say I accept this while the brain learns, right? It would be nice if you could just say, "Hey, there's no danger." And then it just shut off, but it doesn't. It takes time for it to learn, but what you can do is stop adding gas on the fire while it's learning. I think you might just be overthinking the symptom of fatigue, which is leading to symptoms, right? You might just be adding a bit of second fear to the symptom of fatigue. What I mean by that is you might just be mentally diving too deep with it, trying to think your way out of it, which is leading to you sending those danger signals to your brain. Instead we need to accept the way that we feel, right? And that's what this is really all about. It's really easy to start diving deep with the symptoms. It's really easy to start diving deep with them and overthinking them. Obviously. Obviously, that's easy to do. But it's kind of ironic because we point fingers at the symptoms and we say that they're the problem when really we have to do some inner work. We have to catch ourselves adding gas to the fire. Another gift card, WB? Dude, you didn't have to do that. I appreciate you, man. I will check that email in just a second. Shout out to you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you, dude. Thank you, thank you. I've been using those to rent new movies, man. You have provided me with entertainment for for a good little while now, so I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Why? Get back to the comments in just a second here, guys. All right. I'm loving the comments, Christopher. I'm loving them. It's gonna get dark in here for a minute. Hey, I got your card, dude. I appreciate that. Just check. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Some physical symptoms as well during your journey? Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. This advice, when I say acceptance is key, I'm not just talking about with thoughts. This applies to the physical symptoms 110%. Second fear absolutely applies to the physical symptoms, and there can be a lot of those. I'm just hoping they'll be completely gone in the long term. Old me didn't have them. Well, let's switch the attitude a little bit. Let's make a slight adjustment to the attitude even in that statement. So we need to, we want you to get to the point where, of course, okay, and of course, I know that recovery is the end goal. Obviously, I'm not trying to take that from you. But in the meantime, let's continue to switch to an attitude of I'm becoming okay with these thoughts and feelings for as long as they want to be there, right? Now, you say those words, and that might make you cringe a little bit at first, right? You say those words, and that might make you cringe a little bit first. Ooh, I don't quite believe that, right? That you might have that voice in the back of your head. Ooh, I don't quite believe that. But let's continue to work on that attitude anyway. Whether that makes us cringe a little bit or not, let's continue to work on the attitude. I'm going to be okay with these thoughts and feelings for as long as they want to be there, right? Now, that's just one of many accepting short and sweet statements that you could use, right? That's helping you change your attitude from one of resistance to one of acceptance. And even if that makes you cringe a little bit at first and you don't quite believe it, let's continue working on that attitude instead of doing too much daydreaming about, oh, I hope long term they leave and never come back, right? Because in that statement right there, that could lead to a little bit of trouble, right? That statement itself could lead to a little bit of trouble. It could lead to a little bit of, a resistance type of attitude. Do you get what I'm saying? It could lead to a little bit of a resistance type of attitude. So I know people hear me say things like, I accept these thoughts and feelings for as long as they want to be there, and they think to themselves, ooh, that's a little cringe. That makes me cringe a little bit. I don't quite believe that. I don't want to say that, you know. But we need to work on changes in this attitude, right? It's only going to help in the end. And like I said, I completely understand that recovery is the end goal. I completely understand that one day you do want to recover. Obviously, that's why you're here. I'm not taking that from you. But in the meantime, these thoughts and feelings are there. So we need to continue working on the attitude of being completely accepting of them, right? Right? And, everything I just said applies to any symptoms you're experiencing that are anxiety related. Somebody's talking about fatigue in the chat. Regardless, everything I just said, that pretty much sums up all the questions in chat right now involving specific symptoms. New you will be better. New you will have understanding. Yes. I always like to say this is good life advice. This is good life advice. This is going to help you in life in general, not just with anxiety. I had extensive physical symptoms. I followed your advice. Very high anxiety, almost a year, and now very few. Thank you is not enough. That is awesome. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Now, other people in chat might read your comment and think, "How did she do it?" Understand that if she just said that she followed the advice, so do not start diving deep with how did she do it. Understand that if she said she followed the advice, then all she did was try to get on with her life to the best of her ability, right? Live your life, one of the two main keys, and continue to take steps back when you have these thoughts and feelings and remind yourself, whatever short reminder you want to give yourself, I accept these thoughts and feelings instead of fighting with them. You give yourself your reminder, your accepting short and sweet reminder instead of fighting with them, and then you get back into life. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So don't read recovery success comments like that and think to yourself, well, how did she do it? That's what she did. If she said she followed the advice, then that's what she did. And it needs to be taken at face value. I see that happen sometimes. I see people read other people's success comments and they start thinking, "What's the secret formula? What what did they do that I'm not doing?" But um, I mean, there you go. She just put in chat, "Yes, that is it." Okay, see, you have to take it at face value. Don't start thinking, "Where am I going wrong? What is the secret formula?" Right? Okay, don't do that. I see that happen all the time. We overcomplicate the advice. I see it happen all the time. Don't overcomplicate the advice. Literally, the two main keys. Live your life to the best of your ability. When you have these thoughts and feelings, take a step back. Remind yourself whatever short, sweet, accepting reminder you want. I accept these thoughts and feelings as an example. Get right back into living life. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So there you go. There's no magic secret formula. I'm not leaving anything out. I'm not holding back any information. You just have to use it. You just have to use it, right? But I am very happy for your success. I did not mean to turn your comment into a lecture. I just see it happen all the time. I see people look at other people with their recovery success and start thinking to themselves, well, what are they doing that I'm not doing, and what's the secret formula? And it just none of that exists. Literally, just use the two keys, literally. But you have to use them. You have to use them. That's the kicker. That's the thing. You actually have to use them. So that's the kicker. You actually have to use them. It's all worth it in the end. Completely, dude. Completely. That's why I always say it's good life advice. That's why I always say it's good life advice. I did the same, looked for magic, right? And that just kind of keeps you in the cycle. It keeps you in this hamster wheel. But the moment you decide to truly dedicate to just taking those steps back when you're fighting with the thoughts and feelings and reminding yourself, I accept these thoughts and feelings, getting right back into living, rinse and repeat, the moment you decide to dedicate to that, you'll start to see progress sooner rather than later. People tend to look for that instant gratification, and if they don't get it, they fall right back into the bad old habits. But as long as you're doing literally what I just said, you're going to see. You're going to see for yourself. So here recently, I've been heavily focused on trying to tackle all of the most common pitfalls, right, that I see in recovery. And one of those is not getting that instant gratification. So they go right back into not using the two main keys. They're fighting with all the thoughts and feelings instead of just giving their accepting reminder and getting on with life. Because they don't get that instant gratification. That's probably the most common pitfall that I've been trying to address here recently. I see it happen all the time. Okay, I'm going to tell myself I accept these thoughts and feelings for 15 minutes. I don't get that instant gratification. I go right back into searching for that magic phrase, right? Which doesn't exist. So, one of the most common pitfalls. And that's why I've been telling people here recently, don't base your progress off of the way that you feel. Base your progress off of how many times you catch yourself fighting with the thoughts and feelings, and then remind yourself, I accept these thoughts and feelings instead, and getting back into living, even if you have to do that 100 times a day, right? That's what you need to base your progress off of, not the way you currently feel. That'll happen, sooner rather than later, but that's not what you want to base your progress off of right now. Because if you base it off of the way that you feel, as soon as you don't get the instant gratification, you go right back to the forums, you go right back to Google, right? So I've been trying, I've been on a kick of trying to drive that into people's heads here recently, and when I seen your comment about the success that you've had, it kind of just reminded me. It kind of just reminded me to bring that point up again, because I can hear it now, right? Because I've been there. I can hear it now. I can see people reading like success comments and being like, "Well, where am I going wrong?" Nowhere. You're not going wrong anywhere. You just have to get going. You just have to start using it regardless of the way that you feel, even if it doesn't feel like it's working right now. Even if it doesn't feel like it's working right now, you just got to start using it. So I don't know, I've been really trying to drive that home. I think that's the one that I fell for the most during my recovery. Not getting that instant gratification, then going right back to fighting with it. And that's why I love that stream about the fire analogy so much. It's so true. Just because you stop adding gas on a fire doesn't mean that the fire is going to immediately burn out, right? That's why I love that analogy so much. It really helps people visualize exactly what we mean. You know, it really does help. Looking for that magic phrase, right? It doesn't exist. Base your progress on the response, no matter. Yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. You got it. You got it. You got it. I don't know, D Dunn. We've had a lot of success here. But again, see that right there is second fear, dude. That's why you're not getting where you want to be. So you got to catch yourself in those moments, dude, where things like that pop into your head and you got to say, I accept these thoughts and feelings. You got to understand something. If you're pointing fingers at anxiety like I did for a long time, I'm going to ask you a question. You have to be 100% honest. Since you've been having these symptoms and these thoughts, every single time that you have these symptoms and these thoughts, are you taking a step back and saying, I accept these symptoms and thoughts, and then getting on with your life and doing that again 5 seconds later if you've got to do that 5 seconds later instead of fighting with it? Can you 100% with all honesty tell me that you've been doing that? If you cannot 100% tell me with all honesty that you've been doing that, you have to look in the mirror if you want to find the problem, right? And that sounds like I'm being a bit of a douchebag. It's just complete honesty. Like, if you can't answer that question and be 100% with a yes, yes, Wonder Bro, I've been, every time I get these thoughts and feelings, I take a step back, I remind myself I accept these thoughts and feelings, and then I get on with living my life. If you can't answer that with 100% honesty and say yes to that question, there's your problem. You found it. And you can't point fingers at anything else. You found your problem. You're not using the advice. You have found the problem, and that's good. I'm not throwing you under the bus. Believe me. Do you think I was perfect at this shit? Hell no. I was not perfect at this. No, it took some time for me to dedicate. But if you, like I said, if you can't answer that question with 100% honesty and say, yes, every time I feel these thoughts and feelings, I take a step back, I remind myself it's okay to feel these thoughts and feelings, or whatever your reminder is, and then I get back into living, and then I do that 100 times a day if I have to do that. I switch my attitude every single time. I'm no longer fighting. If you can't answer that question with 100% honesty and say, yes, that's what I've been doing, then okay, you found your problem, right? You have now found your problem. You haven't been using the advice. Okay, that's not a bad thing because now you know where you're going wrong. And now you can start to truly dedicate to it. Starting right now. You don't have to wait for a good day. Start you can start right now, right? You can literally start this very moment. So next time you catch yourself in your head with a bunch of fighting with all the thoughts and feelings, you can say, "Okay, wait, I'm doing it again." Take a step back. I accept these thoughts and feelings. I'm going to get on with my day now. You might have to rinse and repeat that 5 seconds later, and but it gets easier as you do it. It gets easier and easier and easier. But like I said, if that's not what you've been doing, if you can't honestly say yes, that's what I've been doing, then you can't blame anything. You can't blame the anxiety. You can't blame other people. You can't blame anything other than yourself. And that might sound a bit harsh, but I'm just telling you that so that you can make the appropriate changes so that you can start to really heal, right? Um, that's why I'm telling you that. I'm not telling you that to try to throw you under the bus, like shame on you. I'm telling you that if you can't answer yes to that question with 100% honesty, well then, okay, you found your problem. You found your problem. The problem being that you're not using the advice, but now you can start using it, right? So congrats. You found your problem. Let's get started, right? Right? So again, not trying to sound like a douchebag. I'm just trying to help you out. I'm just trying to let you know, hey, I've been there. Okay, I blamed everything else under the sun too, but you know, again, now that you've found your problem, you can get started. So be happy, be proud. Be happy, be proud. So I definitely wasn't perfect at it. I needed a couple kicks, in the butt, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, dude. There's nothing wrong with that. Nobody's perfect. Honestly, no. Okay, well, see, you found your problem. You found your problem. There you go. So from this day forward, you can get started. Yeah, I mean, most of the forums and most of the people online, just like Christopher said, they're people that are not actually using the advice. They're not actually using acceptance. So of course you're going to read nothing but people that can't seem to get over it because they're not doing anything. They're not using acceptance. They're not putting in that dedicated, and it does take dedication, work of taking as many step backs during the day as need be when they catch themselves fighting with it, reminding themselves I accept these thoughts and feelings and getting on with life. They're not doing that. So of course they're still struggling a bit. Of course they are, right? Of course they're still struggling. They're not using it, right? And that's not funny, but at the same time, you get what I'm getting at. I get you. I needed to hear that. No problem, dude. People need to hear that from time to time. There's nothing wrong with needing to hear that. Sometimes we do need to hear that put bluntly, right? Sometimes we absolutely do need to hear that put bluntly. I took the same approach with someone else not too long ago. Someone else who was struggling and had been struggling. I gave them that question, have you honestly been doing this? Can you answer that question honestly? And they couldn't answer it honestly. And I like doing that, not to put people on the spot, but to make them kind of open their eyes a bit, right? That's why I like asking that question, not to not to throw somebody under the bus, but to make them, just open their eyes a bit. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing that you can't. answer that question with a yes, because now you found your problem at least. Now you found your problem. So, not a bad thing at all. The way you explain acceptance method makes sense. That's the same thing my psychologist told me, but with professional words, which I couldn't get. So thank you all. Yeah, I try to make it as simple as possible. Good night, all. I love you all. Good night, Christopher. Much love right back to you, dude. Yeah, I try to make it as simple as possible so that it's easy to digest. No sense in overcomplicating it. No sense in overcomplicating it. Especially when people are already kind of in a tired mind and tired body. They need something that's going to be put pretty straightforward. At least I feel like, anyway. They're already dealing with a lot of mental fatigue and brain fog, and so why overcomplicate it? I do remember the title of that video, Start Living and It All Becomes Clear. What that stream really meant was just get back into life, and as these thoughts and feelings come, remember that you're just accepting them, you're not fighting with them, but just start living, and it'll start to all become clear because you're getting back into life. It can seem like a slow process, but keep that attitude of acceptance while you're getting back into life, and it'll all start to become clear. It basically just means trust in the process, right? Trust in the progress that you're making, and it might not seem like you're making a lot, but as long as you're keeping that attitude of acceptance, it'll start to become clear and clear, easier and easier as time goes on. You might have some rough days here and there, but it's all part of the process. Sanchez, dude, thank you for the $20 tip, man. Thank you for the $20 tip, bro. I'll get that updated. Thank you. I appreciate you, man. And get that updated. Thank you so much, Sanchez. Thank you. Hitting typical. I appreciate you, dude. Thank you, bro. I don't even see you in chat, Sanchez, popping up out of nowhere, dude. The thing about fear is, D Nun, there's no way to tiptoe around it. When we experience these feelings and thoughts, we have to learn to step into them and become as okay with them as we can be, which has a lot to do with our mental attitude, basically what we're telling ourselves, right? And that's why I say you have to take continued step backs and remind yourself, I accept these thoughts and feelings, and catch yourself when you're fighting with them mentally, right? But I remind myself I accept this feelings and emotion. Good, good. Now steady the course. Stay on that track. I've been here, brother. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Hey, I appreciate that again, dude. Thanks so much. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Dom and Sanchez, shout out to you guys for the tips. It really helps me out a lot, guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'm so grateful. Thank you, thank you. All about that mental attitude, right? All about that mental attitude, what you're telling yourself basically is what that kind of boils down to. What that kind of boils down to. How have you been, Sanchez? After this stream, you know what? I'm gonna have a hot pocket. I'm feeling a hot pocket today. So healthy. Does Two Man Keys work for DPDR stuff? So the symptoms of anxiety, again, dude, it doesn't matter what the symptoms are. Think about it in the terms of second fear will never help you. Think about it in those terms. What could fighting and second fear possibly do for you, right? Think about it. Think about it in those terms. So when you start to question, well, will it help for this symptom or will it help for that symptom? Start to think about it in the terms of what will fighting with it or adding second fear do for you? Will that accomplish anything? The answer to that question will always be no. So why not go the acceptance route? Spoiler alert, yes, it will help. It will help. You'll start to make progress. But I don't want you to think, oh, well, I need to get rid of these symptoms right now, blah, 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 blah. Let's just practice the accepting attitude. And when you start to question it, ask yourself that question. What will fighting and second fear do for you? Will that ever be beneficial? Absolutely not. You got this, D Nun. You just got to get going, right? That's what it comes down to, dude. You know, you've learned a lot of good information, but it's time to start putting it into play with a continued effort and a continued dedication, right? That's all it's coming down to now. That's all it's coming down to. You had to learn it to use it. So I'm about 90% anxiety free because I accepted acceptance. That is awesome, dude. I love the way you put that. I love the way you put that, dude. I accepted acceptance. Started to actually use it. So again, you know, Dina, you know, you said earlier, it just seems like people don't recover from this thing. But I mean, just look in this chat, dude. This is, you know, my live streams. They get most of their views after the fact, so you have to think that there's like a maximum of 20 to 30 people in here while we're live. Most of my views come after it gets uploaded. Think about it like this, D Nun. I know you're feeling discouraged, but dude, just in this small group of people, there was like 12 people in here when you made that comment. We've had two people out of those 12 that are watching say, "Hey, I'm recovered," or "Hey, I'm 90% there," or "Hey, you know, we've had two people come in here just in the short time that we've been live today, out of the 12 odd people that are in here currently, say, 'Hey, I've made progress. I've recovered. I'm 90% there.'" Someone said, "I barely experience symptoms anymore." And that's just two people that spoke up. And now we've got Terry in here, one of my admins. He can also say that he's fully recovered. There's three people. Chances are there's a few people watching that have made great progress that just haven't commented yet. So when your mind tells you stuff like it's impossible, nobody ever recovers from this stuff, think about it, dude. There's only like 12 odd people in here because we've been streaming for an hour. There's out of those 12 odd people, there's four that I can think of right off the top of my head that have recovered or are 90% there. Come on, right? And that's just in my small little corner of the world over here. That's just in my little small live stream here. Recovery happens, and it happens all the freaking time. But you got to get started. You got to get started, right? With switching that attitude, catching yourself fighting, and instead saying, you know what, I accept these thoughts and feelings, even if you don't believe it at first. We got a tip from somebody who I guess went directly through the PayPal instead of the link. That's why we didn't get a little notification, but I've got it right here on my computer. Let's see, dude, I cannot pronounce your name. I'm going to feel so bad if I can't thank you for this because this was a $30 tip. Dude, thank you so much. I can't pronounce your name. I can't pronounce your name. If you made the $30 tip, can you please comment in the chat because I literally cannot pronounce your name, and I apologize for that. But thank you so much. Holy crap. We are at 70. Thank you guys so much. That is amazing. Thank you guys. For real. Shout out, shout out. I feel so bad that I can't pronounce your name. Like I literally can't even attempt it. Um pro pro pru pru den den dency prudency pro prudency prudency prudency. That's so bad. I know I've completely butchered that. I have absolutely just stomped all over your name. I completely just chopped that into 1,000 pieces. Just call me Pooty. Okay, Pooty. Pooty it is. Pooty, thank you so much for the $30 tip, dude. I appreciate you, man. I did get it. Thank you so much for that $30 tip. So shout out to Pooty, shout out to Sanchez, shout out to Dom. Thank you guys for your tips today. You have put us above and beyond the tip goal, and I am so grateful. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. I truly appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My name is not easy. I'm not good with names anyway, so it's like double whammy there. Double whammy there. All right, guys, we are about an hour and a half into this one. I'm starving, so I'm going to go ahead and end this one here. I appreciate all you guys for watching. Thank you so much for your love and support. 10K subs right around the corner, guys. If you're looking for a sign to subscribe, you're not subscribed yet, this is your sign. Be one of those people who gets us that much closer to 10K. Thank you guys so much for watching. I believe in every single one of you. Thank you again. Shout out from the bottom of my heart to Sanchez, Dom, Pooty. Thank you guys so much for your tips. I love you guys. Thank you for just watching. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for anything that you do, right? I love you, and I'll see you very soon. Till next time, as always, stay